Broadcasting from the Blanchardstown Centre, this is Phoenix FM.
This is 92.5 Phoenix FM, community radio for Dublin 15.
Hey everybody, it's JB Jeremy Borash, and you are listening to Dara O'Connor.
Yo, what's going on? It's Leon Sweater, and you are listening to Dara O'Connor on the Wrestling Rewind. You get me?
Welcome to the Wrestling Rewind, the only wrestling podcast by fans who don't hate wrestling.
Hello everybody, you are listening to the Wrestling Rewind, the only podcast by wrestling fans who don't hate wrestling. It is Tuesday, the Royal Rumble is over, people are not happy. My name is Dara O'Connor, but I am not alone. I'm joined by my co-host, Christopher. How are you doing, sir?
I am not happy. The Rumble was a disgrace.
Yeah, man, it's I was kind of lost for words because I called it pretty much to the letter.
You
When
did.
we talked about this last week. When we talked about this last week, I was just like, you don't bet against Roman Reigns. And it was sad because I was like, oh my God, why? You know, and look, we talked about this before we went on air that we were promised surprises.
Yep.
And I'm still waiting for them.
I know. I'm
This is a-
thinking maybe they got lost in the shuffle in the mail or something. I don't know.
Yeah, is it like, are the surprises coming later? Is the surprise that there were no surprises?
I was
Which
just
I
gonna
guess,
say,
you know,
that was a surprise that there was no surprise. Haha, sucker.
yeah, I mean, like, if that's what it was, that's really terrible. But the reaction to this online, man, it hasn't been good, and I don't really blame them. Like the crowd in Saudi, I don't know if you watched the post show. No, I didn't watch it, but I saw some clips. They were chanting Vince McMahon,
Yep.
AEW, and you know, obviously they wanted Chris Jericho and stuff. But like,
Yeah.
when a crowd is chanting for Vince McMahon, you know
Yeah.
you've done
You've done a horrible job.
you've done
you
a
fuck-
horrible job. And but here's the weird thing, man. Even online, there's like these group of people that are like, "Oh, Vince would have booked it better," and I was like, "Do you not remember the way he used? Reigns still would have won. Like, what are you talking about? Like, look, before we get into it properly, right? I mean, this Roman Reigns thing, I didn't really get Roman Reigns until I did know. Obviously, look, I like the Shield. The Shield are great. He was obviously going to be the breakout star. He has been. And then with the whole tribal chief thing, really came into his own. And look, that run he had, 4 or 5 year run, no, 3 year run, was pretty good. But to go back to him so soon, particularly when you have a desperate need for new stars,
Yeah.
why do you think they keep doing it? Like, is it just to play it safe, or what's your read on this?
And what really upset me is that they teased Gunther's number 30. I'm like, okay, cool. Gunther's winning the Rumble. Okay, I'm happy with that. And they did the same thing last year with Jey Uso and John Cena. I was like, there's no way Jey Uso's going over. And what happened? Jey Uso went over. And I'm like, dude, do not have history repeat itself. And when Roman threw Gunther out, I'm like, oh, are you kidding me right now? Again, another reign of terror? Disappointing.
Reign of terror. Yeah, no, it's disappointing. It's more just when I was watching it. Well, actually, I fell asleep halfway through it. To be honest with you, because I was just kind of like, oh, this is. I was training beforehand, and I was just tired, and it just didn't hold me, you know. So I actually had to go back and watch it again. And we will start with the men's rumble, obviously, because it's the main event. It's the one that people are actually most upset about.
Yeah.
It was a bummer, you know. There was no. I don't want to say, oh, there's no cameos. There was no, but that's kind of part of it, right? Like when you're watching the Rumble, you're like, oh, what legends are going to show up? What random what random thing is going to happen.
Yeah.
What moment will you remember? It didn't have any of that. Now look, people are like, well, what about La Parka? I'm like, yeah, I was surprised by La Parka too. He's been dead for 10 years. That was that was weird. Now I know they have other La Parkas, but still, it was like, come
I
on.
mean, he lived
I
good
get,
for being dead for 10 years, so I'll give him that.
yeah, for sure. He didn't even walk out and do his chair stuff and that. It was just kind of like, all right, this is a different. Now I know it's a different La Parka and stuff like that, but still, that was kind of cheap. The crowd didn't care. Uh, Mr. Iguana showed up, but the crowd didn't care,
No.
and because they were all, you know what it was, they were sold a bill of goods, and the bill of goods was like, okay, you're gonna get Chris Jericho, you're gonna get a proper Royal Rumble. Now look, I think what could have happened here is, and again, I'm a huge Triple H fan, so you could be like, but there you're trying to stick up for him, maybe, but also we don't know how this was booked backstage. We don't know if they reached out to talent and they didn't want to go over to Saudi Arabia. That could be part of it, right? We just actually don't know. There could have been, again, there's one or two things here. This could have been exactly what they had in mind, exactly what they were going to do, and no matter where it was, this was going to happen. Or a lot of talents were like, no, I don't particularly want to go over, or it's too far, or whatever. But then again, they probably would have got a big payday for it. So there is that element. But like, the Saudis were sold a bill of goods here. The fans there were sold a bill of goods, and by extension, we were sold a bill of goods that we were going to get um, legends. We were going to get a cameo. We were going to get the Chris Jericho thing. They have hinted it was kind of terrible. They didn't do that. This was the time to do it, and it was just flat. The air was let out of the whole thing, and when Gunther came out, don't get me wrong, I was like, okay, that's a cool thing to do, but I think if he had a won, it would have been way more impactful than him being thrown out, because there was no real, in my opinion, there was no real reason for him to be there. He had already beaten and retired AJ Styles. What more were you going to do? I think having him in there just made him look a bit weak. Now I know he was selling the leg, but still, I think it took a little bit out of his night.
I agree.
And
And
if I,
yeah, the fact that they threw him over the rope and, he just retired a legend, not even an hour or so before that. And okay, he's in the Rumble number 30. Okay, cool. He has to win. This will certify him as a dominant heel in the company going for the gold. And then Roman Reigns has to be the guy, the big dog or whatever we want to call him nowadays, and gets the win. And I'm just like, you just made him look weak, like really, really weak.
Yeah, no, and I don't understand that. It's like you fed him Goldberg, which he and Cena, and then he retires AJ, which we'll get to. Don't worry, we'll get to that. But there was nothing gained here. He didn't.
Nope.
It's like, okay, so Roman Reigns is still able to beat everybody. I don't understand what the point was. There was no star. Like, the Rumble is supposed to make stars. It's supposed to set up angles, and it's supposed to really start the road to WrestleMania. And we don't really have that across the board. The Rumble didn't really set that up for a lot of people. It hinted at a load of things, but I watched it twice now, and I'm still lost for any semblance of where we're going.
If you think about the last 4 Rumbles, you had Cody winning it twice, which I think was atrocious in itself. He should have won it the one time, won the belt, did what he did. And you got Jey Uso, who won the belt, grabbed the brass ring, as Vince would say, and did nothing with it. And now we're getting Roman Reigns, who just, the number of title defenses he had during that 1,316-day reign is just yuck. I mean, I know CM Punk mentioned that in his promo on Raw the following Monday, is that just because you did it longer doesn't mean you did it better. And he's not wrong. Punk defended it about a quarter of the time he had it.
The thing about it is, it's like Roman Reigns, the way it worked for the time period. It was the most interesting thing that was happening at the time. I get it, but he isn't the guy to carry your company because he just isn't there. It's like putting the belt on Brock. Doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense. It's like
It doesn't.
they're not going to be there. Now, again, and I don't really know. I hate giving credit to WWE because then they just fail to really deliver on it, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but it could be he doesn't win and Punk wins. But you don't bet against Roman Reigns. You don't bet against John Cena. That's the rule. But he couldn't win. He might lose. Punk goes over, or else they. But then again, who does that benefit? It doesn't benefit Punk to lose. It doesn't benefit Reigns to lose. They've literally just wasted the Royal Rumble. It's like with Jey Uso, even though with Jey winning, that was silly. And it really was, because it's like, come on. Like really, but at least they took a shot, right? They didn't play it safe.
Yeah.
So this year they played it way too safe and it sucks. But last year they just went with a random choice and it
Yeah.
was equally as bad. But like, I don't know, I have a worse taste in my mouth this year from it because it's like LA Knight was there. For some reason they just hate LA Knight and I don't really
Yeah.
know why.
I don't
I
get that
just
either.
don't
Yeah.
it,
I don't get that either.
it's weird, right?
It is. The dude is more over than anybody else on the roster, and he's not getting any younger. You know,
Mhm.
he deserves a title. I'm not talking the US or Intercontinental. Give him the big one. Give him the big strap and let him run with it.
Like the crowd wanted it. Every crowd he's been in. Look, dude, I was at WrestleMania 40 and they did the WWE World thing. And he did an interview. I think it's on our channel. It should be on our channel. And the crowd are just into him, you know? And since then, he's not really been given anything. I know he had a US title run or whatever, but he just keeps getting beat. And yet the crowd are still there with him. Now, that doesn't last forever. Eventually the crowd are just like, okay, I guess you're just not winning. You know, but they still have the opportunity to make this guy. And I just don't know why they're not pulling the trigger. You know, like if you look at the landscape of the main event scene of WWE, it's very, very thin. Now I have heard they're going to do something with Finn Balor. He's going to have a big run going into WrestleMania. But even still, what's the point in doing that if the belt is still going to be held by somebody who's not going to be there, who could potentially beat CM Punk and take that belt away from him?
Yep.
It's like, okay, cool. All you have Drew McIntyre, who'll probably lose to Cody.
You gotta hope not.
And then you end up with Reigns hold one belt and Cody holding the others, both of which nobody wants, both of which won't be there because they have to go off and they're both going to Hollywood.
Yep, that's
It's
true.
just like this is goofy. What are you like? What are they doing? What my question for you, Christopher, is what's the way forward if that's the situation?
That they don't know, and we saw this on Unreal, that their booking doesn't know what the hell they're doing. They're just throwing stones and hoping people catch them, and it's atrocious. The creative picture they're trying to paint here is like, okay, cool, we'll put on these older stars, but the Rumble, the Money in the Bank, is designed to give a younger superstar a chance, not necessarily to win, because you don't always win when you win the Rumble. There's plenty of people that haven't won, but
It's true.
at the same time, it's like give people like LA Knight, Finn Balor. You know, I'd have been okay if Obed won it, you know, and he was number one going in.
Yeah,
I would have been okay
look
if Braun
great.
Breaker wanted to, you know.
Yeah, we'll
And
get
then,
there.
of course, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure we'll get there. But there are more. Roman Reigns, and I know this is going to upset a lot of people. Roman Reigns is this generation's Hulk Hogan. He has a stranglehold on the company and doesn't want to have any creative differences except for his own. And I have the theory too that it's not all Triple H's fault. I have a feeling that the people in Saudi Arabia, the people that built the stadium and are funding all the shows going out there, they're like, yeah, we want Roman Reigns to win it, and that's what we want. And they're like, well, they're paying us millions and millions of dollars. It's might as well do it. And that's just that's just lazy writing right there.
You know what? You brought up a point that I think everyone has missed. And it's a very, very cogent point. Look who funded it.
Yeah.
That's who they probably wanted to win, right? And it makes all the sense in the world. It's like, if you look at anyone else in there, if The Rock had been there, The Rock would have won, right?
Yeah, more
if
like
they had got the Undertaker or Shawn Michaels in, they would have won because that's who they wanted. Yeah, that was in the back of my mind, but now that you've laid it out that way, it actually does make the most sense. And it's WWE kind of shot themselves in the foot here with the Royal Rumble because it's like you've handed the keys over to not your get out of jail free card, because that's what Money in the Bank is, but your table setting for the WrestleMania main event picture is now set by something that could have been just done on a whim of whoever was paying the bills. And yeah, like we should have called that last week, but I think that was definitely something that a lot of people are overlooking. And there's this thing where everybody's so quick to blame Triple H, which I don't think is fair. I mean, yeah, he's head of creative, but like TKO are calling the shots here. This is a company designed just to make money and drive the stock price up, which, look, from a business standpoint, the stock has never been higher. So they are incredibly successful. It is working. But at the same time, giving way to Saudi money, if that was indeed the case, it's so creatively bankrupt because they can't go anywhere here. It leads them to a complete dead end. They put the belt on Reigns. Where does it go? Nowhere. They put the belt on Cody. Where does it go? Nowhere.
Nowhere.
And even if Cody had won again, which it looked like that was going to happen, and that would have been terrible.
Oh yeah.
But the crowd were still cheering for Roman Reigns to an extent afterwards, and Triple H turned to them and he was like, "The guy who you wanted to win still won, right?" Which was a weird thing to say. So I don't think you're too off base, man.
Not just that, but again, they can definitely pull an audible on this one, and the same thing that they did before WrestleMania 30 when Blue Tista, when he was wearing the all blue that year, won the Rumble. He won the Rumble that year, and the people were like, "What about Daniel Bryan?" And then they had the yes movement. They pushed it. Okay, fine. If you can get past Triple H, an opener of the show, if you can get past Triple H, we'll put you in a triple threat match with Randy Orton and Batista for the title. So I'm hoping they kind of pull an audible here. And again, just because you won the Rumble does not mean you're guaranteed to win the title. So I'm hoping they are like, I'm hoping the powers that be are like, yeah, you can win the Rumble in Saudi, but we're going to be in Vegas and our money's on CM Punk, or if they want to make it a triple threat, whatever they want to do with it. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed here, that they call an audible and kind of change it, because again, just because you win the Rumble doesn't mean you're guaranteed to win the match.
You also have the opportunity with the Elimination Chamber. Now, we don't know if Punk is going to be defending in the Elimination Chamber. He wasn't on this card, which I was kind of surprised by, but at the same time, I'm like, he's already had an incredible string of matches, and it's like, okay, fair enough, he doesn't really need to. But
keep in mind,
yeah,
though, if the Elimination Chamber is in Chicago this year.
That's true. So
I think what they're going to do with the Chamber is they're going to make, if Roman's already made up his mind, so they're having qualifying matches and then whoever wins the chamber is going to go on to get the other champion at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, it's going to be Cody then.
It was going to, yeah. God, I hope not.
Yeah.
I'd be more okay if Solo Sikoa won that match. I'm like, you know what? It's somebody new. It's somebody different. I'm okay with heel versus heel. I want to see that.
Yeah, like, I don't know. We'll get to the Sami Zayn thing in a second, but even Randy Orton, I'd be okay with Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton, if they want to go for something safe but decent. But at WrestleMania, like, they have an opportunity to have Punk go over, which would kind of cement them. And then he'd have a win over every member of the Shield, which would be pretty cool, to be fair. But if you wanted to do something different, now I have heard that's going to be Finn and Dominic. Finn Balor winning the US title at this point, or the Intercontinental title at this point, is he doesn't need that. You know, I think it would be a much cooler win if he would be able to be inserted into that title picture, beat Punk and Reigns. And think about it, Finn is younger than both of them, so it's like you can actually build on that. You know, that's not a dead end, right? As much as I love Punk, he is. You know, he's probably got 3 years left, and that's being a bit generous as an in-ring performer, before he goes part-time. And it's just like, come on, like, you have. So we'll see what happens. I totally did. When it was all done, I was just like pointing, you know, and that was my major feeling afterwards. Like, there were some great things on the show, but there was nothing from the men's rumble that I could point to and go, that's good. I like that. And look, before we wrap up the rumble, on the men's side, the Braun Breaker thing, while it was kind of creative, I also felt really bad for you because that was your, like, oh, Christopher's going to be disappointed because he just took him out immediately.
My pick was either Finn if he could find a way in, or LA Knight. So I was like, Braun Breaker, cool. I was doing a live on TikTok, and there's a girl who was in love with Braun, and she was like upset. Like, why would you do that to my puppy dog? And I'm like, because it's not his turn. I guess I don't know what to tell you. Braun Breaker getting pretty much fed to the wolves, so to speak. And the bell hitting the ring for the Rumble to start. Yeah, I thought it was creative, and I thought it was funny. And it's all the talk on social media on who is the masked man.
Who do you think it is?
I know it's not Austin Theory because they've already done that. I originally thought it was Adam Pearce, but after further investigation, I noticed on the masked man's hand, there's a tattoo. What Irish superstar do we know has a tattoo on his hand? It was Finn Balor. I think it's Finn Balor.
That would be cool. That would actually be creative. Too creative for me.
True. Very true.
I'd be honest with you. If they just had him attack Braun Breaker, take the mask off, and enter the match and win, that would have been awesome.
Oh, that'd have been great. That'd have been poetic. Yeah, but
like that,
they don't have that.
That's what the
ideas.
Because I said last week, oh, just hack someone on the way and take. Oh, so they kind of did that and then did nothing with it, and it's just like, oh, you got halfway. you got. Yeah. Why did you just? You know, it was silly, but we'll see what happens with that. But I think that's an interesting pick. It's not Seth Rollins anyway. Some people are saying it could be Logan Paul, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm just trying to. I'm willing to just wait and see what happens here because I'm sick of the Masked Man thing. It's very WWE SmackDown versus Raw for me. You know, the creative wrestler story mode where the Masked Man attacks you or whatever. It's just like, oh no, the WWE creative actually has a huge on the men's side. They need to fire whoever is scripting it and maybe bring in some ideas, because booking by committee and booking too safely just leads to this slop. And I don't like using that word. I think it's overused, but that's what the main slop. Completely just, and
Yeah.
it was just not good. Not good at all. I want to quickly contrast that to the Women's Rumble, which was actually fantastic. Soruk is great. I'm sorry. Put the belt on her. Push her to the moon.
Yes.
She really
Oh, yeah.
she won me over during Saturday night's main event. With that phenomenal performance she put in. But this was a star-making performance. The Women's Rumble is the way the Rumble should be done, right? Where someone gets a big pop-out performance. If they don't win, they still get over. She was the star. That
Yeah.
Soul Catcher is such a cool finish. And I like the end of it when three of them are on the apron and Liv knocks them over. When the Soul Catcher does the work, that's a super creative finish.
Yeah.
So I think the creativity is still there with WWE, but whatever's happening on the men's side of things, they're too afraid to take the risks that they will with the women. And as a result, you get exactly what you want from the men through the women. And I think the wires get crossed. Because at no point, like, we got our surprise, even though it was Brie Bella, which was, I can't believe she got, like, so 2026 has been a very weird year already.
Yeah.
I did not put on my calendar, on my bingo card, a "This is awesome" chant for the Bellas ever in any reality. Did
Yeah.
you?
No.
Did you ever think?
There was a clue that I didn't catch it till after the fact when Nikki came out. The back of her gear said 02, and I'm like, well, who the hell would be 01? And then not long after, you hear the Brie Mode song, and I'm like, no. My enthusiasm for that would replicate Monty Python reference from the Monty Python and the Holy Grail when like they came out and they were all rejoicing. Yay. Like it was just so minimal. I was just like, ugh, I'm so over Brie Bella. I'm over the Bellas in general.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're only there to go for the tag champions. That's the only reason they're there, is to do that at this point.
But they somehow got a "This is awesome" chant.
Because they don't know what they're doing over there. They're cheering Roman Reigns. Of course they're going to cheer the Bella twins.
Yeah, it was still weird, you know. It was just a weird thing to see, a weird thing to experience. But that aside, I think the Women's Rumble was like one of the matches of the night. Standout moments.
Oh yeah,
It was
definitely.
very enjoyable. And I have to say as well, whoever made the decision to let the girls wear their own stuff really helped, because and you could actually tell as well, some of the girls that just wore black, they faded off into the distance, and kind of even her name's gone. The goth one. Why can't I remember her name?
Gee.
She's so forgettable. I can't remember who she is. I'll come back.
I will say this though, that the little triangle between Maxine Dupree, Natalia, and Becky, I have a feeling we're going to see that triple threat match at the Chamber for that IC title. It's coming.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying to you. There was so much in the Rumble that in the Women's Rumble that actually achieved what you're supposed to get in the Men's Rumble. You know, you can see a lot of the things that are building. We are either going to get it at the Chamber or we're going to get it into WrestleMania properly. And it was just enjoyable. It was a really good way to open up the show. And again, I have to finish the thought on it. Whereas, like, because of they're able to show off their own personality, it was a lot easier to follow. Like, you're like, okay, cool. This is this is such and such, whatever. And it wasn't just like even Natalia when she came out. Yeah, she was able to get over more that new kind of character shift that she had. I think if they had to put the girls in just um, standard black fair or anything like that, or just didn't let them have that personality, it wouldn't have carried over as much. Um, like again, the standout performance. Well, Liv won, and I was happy to see Liv win. So Ruka is just that's your future. Build around her, whatever you need to do, whatever build. Um, just her moveset is there. Her performance in the ring.
Yeah.
She just has psychology. The way she strings, like again, she's a seasoned pro. So whoever booked the women's rumble definitely, um, definitely did a phenomenal job. I really really enjoyed it. But in the time we have left here, we got to talk about AJ Styles and Gunther.
Yeah.
That world title match, absolutely terrible. Sami Zayn, do not put him near a title match again like that. Awful, 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 awful. That's the only thing I could say about that.
Drew carried that match, 100%. Drew carried it. He had to.
I think it exposed Sami Zayn more than I would want. Like I never really put any stock in him at all, but it exposed him to such an extent where it's like, there's no reason to push him again. At the world title. Kevin Owens coming back, great. He can do something with Kevin. But that's the only time he should be sniffing around the world title. He's mid-carder, and that's just where he is. Drew killed him, and it wasn't like, oh, it's a match I wanted to see or in a good way. It was just over. And that's all I can say on that, because I didn't enjoy it at all. For me, it was the low point of the pay-per-view, and that's saying something.
Yeah, that is saying something. And those that don't remember, if you want to see a mid-carder become a champion, go back to Jinder Mahal's run a couple years back, and you'll see.
Go back and watch Jey Uso. Watch Jey Uso.
You know what? I would no. I mean, Jey Uso, for as flamboyant as he is, they just didn't know what to do with him. Jinder Mahal was a jobber. For some reason, got moved up to the main spotlight, and I'm like, why? The last standing member of 3MB gets a title shot. Was that what was in the contract? Whoever's left from 3MB who didn't get fired gets a title shot. Is that how this is working?
Rhea Ripley. That's who I was referring to. I can't believe I forgot who she was. That's how unforgettable. That's how forgettable she was in the Women's Rumble by just wearing all black.
See, but that's okay.
I forgot her name.
That's okay though, because she's had her time in the spotlight. And there was a joke going around that a lot of them look like Power Rangers. I'm like, okay, I can see that.
Yeah, but not in a cool way.
Well,
not in a cool way. Like the Power Rangers are supposed to be awesome. It's just, I think the more flamboyant and the more there was even a Shigo reference from Kim Possible, which was awesome. And it's just like, the girls that decided to show character, I think really did themselves a favor by just going basic black or whatever. You just kind of faded into the background. So I think they made the best of an awkward situation. But
even Candice LeRae,
poor Rhea.
Candice LeRae, her outfit was a tribute to Van Halen because it looked like his guitar from back in the 80s.
That's true.
I saw that and I'm like, wow, that's cool.
See, yeah, and it's like that's super great, and they made their own. They got their own ones made, I think that's super creative. So, look, the girls have been better than a lot of the guys in WWE for a while, but it really did kind of spotlight it.
It is the truth. I mean, hell, Becky even had shoulder pads for some stupid reason. Like, what are you trying to do?
Yeah,
okay, cool. Do you, boo? Seriously.
Yeah, Becky's run is pretty funny at the moment. I'm not gonna lie, but look,
I love her tweets. They're funny to see.
Oh yeah, no, she really gets the heel, But moving on from Sami and just that experiment, which I'm glad they did it at the Rumble where it didn't really matter. But I think it underscores now where you're just like, no, he's just not there. You know, his ceiling was reached, and Drew had to kick him in the head a bunch of times.
Yeah.
That was it. You know. But look, moving on from that, we had the match of the night without, with a bullet. One of the best matches that you can see AJ Styles in recently, and that's also saying something. Gunther and AJ had one for the ages. If you're going to
Yeah.
retire from WWE, this is how to retire. And look, I was glad that it wasn't a submission. Like he didn't tap. And I'd said last week, if he's gonna lose, don't tap. A bit controversial kind of thing where he didn't do the 3-arm thing, but I've watched a couple of people talk about it, and they're like, it looks more real. It's like a real TKO. Is if he's gone out, he's gone out. So I did actually kind of appreciate that too, where it's like it was such a vicious choke. It's like, no, he was out. Like that was it. So I was a bit mad because I was like, oh, they didn't do the 3-arm thing, but apparently that came in with Hulk Hogan. So I'm like, okay, they're moving on to something that's a bit more real, and it did look more vicious, where it's like, oh no, AJ's out. And look, Gunther looked like a killer.
Yeah, he did.
I did think AJ was gonna win. The false finish was pretty good, but Gunther looked like a killer. Like when he got that last choke in, I was like, oh man, who's going to be able to beat Gunther here? But then they undid it with the Rumble, which was annoying.
Yeah.
But anyway, we talked about that. Let's just keep with this. We've talked about this. In the time we've been doing this show, we've seen Gunther retire 2 legends from WWE. Man, Gunther, what can you say?
You got that 3rd Infinity Stone. 3 more to go.
Yep.
And they're putting on his Titantron now, Career Killer. They're actually promoting that now.
They
So
trademarked it, yeah.
Yeah, they trademarked it.
yeah.
They're putting it on there, and I'm like, all right, cool. I'm all about that, and dude, I can appreciate a good heel. I may not like the stuff he did, but my brother brought this to a point that for the most part, Gunther is doing this by himself. He's not having anybody interfere. Roman Reigns, I'm talking to you. He's not having anybody interfere to help him get over. He's being smart. I've always said in wrestling, if the ref doesn't see it, it's not cheating. So when he tapped out, quote unquote, tapped out to AJ, that was to get AJ, oh, I won. No, you didn't. You just got kicked below the belt, and then you're done. And he is such a smart heel that I'm actually okay with this heel run. I want to see more. More. I want it.
It's a star-making performance as well.
Yes, it is.
Because it's not, it's not like in wrestling, and I don't need to explain this to you or to the audience, but for anyone who is listening, who hasn't seen this before, in wrestling, there's 2 heels you can really do that work effectively. There's the chicken S heel, which, they cheat to win, they're cowardly, they have outside interference, blah, blah, blah. But then there's the other heel, which we actually don't see that much. It's very rare you see it, or if you do see it, it's quickly swapped back, where it's just a dominating heel, where they don't actually need any help. They're just a force of nature. And you don't see that very often. WWE don't really book like that, or if they do, it's quickly overturned. Because, again, we had 20 years of John Cena where you would have someone go on a bit of a run and Cena would beat them in 5 weeks. This is the first time we've actually seen this in about 20 years, where there's someone who, like, you could say Randy Orton, but Randy Orton was beating guys who were past it. Yeah, they were legends, but they were semi-retired or actually retired. So you weren't really killing the legends. Like even with Mick Foley, Randy Orton and Mick Foley in that amazing Backlash Hardcore match, that is a great match. But Mick Foley was retired since 2001. Or sorry, since 2000.
Yeah.
So, it is different. He's actively taking people out from active competition. So it hits different. And again, it's not with weapons. It's just he out wrestles them. He out wrestled AJ Styles in storyline, obviously, right? But
Yeah.
he out wrestled AJ Styles. Which, look, any way you cut it as a story, that's a good story to tell.
Oh yeah.
And it is effective. You know, WWE played it smart, they booked it well, and you know, that's it. AJ's done in WWE. Now there's a bit of controversy, and look, we got some time. He didn't take off the glove. Well, he took off the gloves and then put them back on.
Yeah,
right?
he did.
So even in our comment section, you know, some people are like, he's going to AEW, blah blah blah, and we said he's not going to AEW, blah blah blah. Right?
No, he's not.
So we outlined that. Now, I don't. Some other people that I would listen to or whatever are saying in AEW run isn't outside the realm of possibility. Now, what could happen is, right, I do think we're looking at a AJ world retirement run where he kind of goes wherever he wants to go. I think that's very likely, right? But I don't think he will sign somewhere to stay with them. If AJ is going back to wrestle, it's going to be kind of wherever he wants to go. Now, but there is the other side of the coin as well. I literally saw just before we recorded tonight that AJ's wife pretty much begged him to come home.
Yeah.
He did enough. Now, what people might not know is the reason why AJ Styles didn't go to WWE initially or for a while is one, because he was in TNA. That's his home and he has a lot of loyalty to TNA. But also because his wife was she's a teacher and he wanted to support her in Georgia. So it's actually, you know, where TNA was, it was a lighter schedule and it was easier to get either set up there or get home to her.
Yeah.
So he's always picked his wife first. And that's probably what he'll do this time. Maybe he's just done. He could just, you know, he might show up. He could do a run in TNA, could do a match in AEW, could do a match in New Japan. But I don't think you're going to see AJ committing to somewhere for a year or 6 months. That just doesn't seem what he wants to do. He's like, no, I'm AJ Styles. I can still wrestle, but he also could just want to go home. You know, it's like he's done enough. So I know there is this hunger for AJ Styles to go wrestle Kenny Omega. And look, I even said it in our comment section. I want that. I wouldn't consider myself an AEW fan by any stretch of the imagination. But if they put on Kenny Omega and AJ Styles, I'll watch that. I'll go to the show, right? But at the same time, I don't see him signing 6 months to go and to do that if he's already committed to retiring.
Yeah.
Just like with TNA, I don't see him staying there for 6 months. Might have a small run with the belt, probably have 1 or 2 matches. That could be it. Same in New Japan. It's just, we will kind of have to see. But I did find it interesting that he didn't put the gloves down in the ring. He kind of kept them. So I don't think we've seen the last of AJ Styles in the ring, but I really don't see him committing long term to any one company. It's more than likely he could just bounce around. But I am still resolute on the fact that he probably will start in TNA before he goes anywhere else.
And he's not the first superstar to have a career-ending match and then come back 6 months later in the same company. WWE has been notorious for doing that in the past, so I would not be surprised if AJ came back. But then again, that just kind of kills Gunther's heat. He's like, okay, you retired him, but he came back. So if you're trying to build Gunther up as this beast, then AJ, go do your run in TNA. Go to New Japan. If you want to go do a match in AEW, cool. Samoa Joe, Kenny Omega, go ahead and knock all that out. Well, my question though is, who does Gunther take out next? Who is next on the chopping block for him?
Orton.
I think Brock before Orton.
Oh yeah, Brock in Minnesota at SummerSlam. That's a better call.
Brock has already said he's done. He doesn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, and SummerSlam is in Minnesota, so that makes a lot of sense.
Ooh,
yeah, I think okay. I'm gonna swap it around then. Brock, then Orton.
I
or
think
Brock
Gordon
and
got
then
another
Punk
5
even.
years in him.
Yeah, maybe, but you can see like Legend Killer versus
Career killer.
what? Yeah, that's a WrestleMania main event.
I
That's a
can wait a year
WrestleMania
for
main
that.
event.
I can wait a year for that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, because this career killer thing, obviously whatever they have him doing at WrestleMania, we don't know yet. But if they do build up where it's Brock and Gunther, that'd be a hell of a match. That'd be a hellacious match as well because Brock won't hold back, and
No, he
Gunther
won't.
probably won't want them to.
No.
So it'll be, yeah, that'd be really cool. I actually would really want to see that because yeah, like Brock's pretty much done anyway. Yeah, I think that list though, if YTJ does come back, he could be on that because he probably want to retire in WWE. Punk has 3 years. Punk could be on that, but you don't really know how long that this gimmick could go. I think they'll probably cap it though. They might do 5 guys and then give someone the big win, and then we don't know who that is yet, and we really don't. But yeah, man, I think you're on the money there. Brock Lesnar's probably the next one at SummerSlam
Oh yeah.
for sure. Well, man, that's it. We have hit time. But look again, folks, if you're listening to us on anywhere, Spotify, we're also on Phoenix FM, and we're also on YouTube as well. So please do like, share, subscribe. That helps us a great deal, and keep commenting because the comments are fantastic. We really do appreciate it. There's a bunch of new content as well on the channel. Christopher, thank you very much, sir. Is there anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
Just Google search the Jazz Zodiac podcast. You'll find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube. Just reviews and news from WWE, including PLEs and a classic pay-per-view. We'll be doing that once a month in 2026.
Fantastic. Go over there and like, share, subscribe to that podcast also. And we'll be back next week here on the Wrestling Rewind. Bye, guys. Hey, folks, just wanted to say thanks to everybody who's liked, shared, and subscribed, and also commented on these videos and on this channel recently. It's been really, really cool. This is your first time checking us out. Please do any of those things. And I want to know your comments actually on this because we didn't get a chance to really talk about it on the show this week. Because, I didn't really put too much stock in it. I didn't really think that we were going to see this. Obviously, I'm talking about AJ Styles potentially retiring at the Royal Rumble now in a couple of weeks. I didn't buy it. I didn't think that we'd have the potential of AJ actually losing. A couple of things have happened though that kind of puts it into stark relief. So obviously we're gearing up to the AJ Styles Gunther return match, which if Styles does lose, he will be forced to retire. Now, they said retire from in-ring competition. I'm hesitant on that even if he does lose. There's a potential that he could still go back to TNA, could finish up there. I don't know. But if it is in-ring competition, that could be very self-explanatory. But again, I was like, no, look, obviously we know his career is finishing up this year. And the assumption would be, okay, he's going to have a little career tour and that will be that. But a couple of things happened this week and there's lots of different reports that in fact he could actually just be done. Gunther has retired 2 people so far, 2 obviously big names, so adding AJ onto that, it makes an awful lot of sense. The matches that AJ has done in WWE over the past year have really been kind of his, if you look at it from that point of view where it's all building up to this, it also makes an awful lot of sense. And then there was the match at Saturday Night's Main Event with Nakamura. Now obviously him and Shinsuke Nakamura have had this feud for years. They've been rivals from New Japan all the way up, and the match was quite spectacular. I'm not gonna lie, on the show I was like, I don't really like these Saturday Night Main Events because they always come off kind of
they just don't have that pay-per-view PLE feel, you know. And I'm not a big fan of them, but they do have good matches on them from time to time. And this was one of them. This should have been a bigger deal, much like Cena's, to be fair, but considering the fact that we have seen what we've seen, and then Shinsuke put up his diary entry where AJ was like, yeah, look, I'm losing at the Royal Rumble. I hope that doesn't happen, because AJ's awesome, and it would just kind of be like, oh, again, Saturday night's main event, if you're a star and you're going against Gunther, you're going to lose and you're going to retire. But, you know, it still would be a shock at the Rumble. It would be one of those moments where you're like, whoa, it's crazy, and you'd actually always remember it. So I'm not saying it couldn't happen. Based on all the news we've seen, based on everything that has come out, it looks very, very likely. And if he does retire, you know, it would be cool for him to finish up in TNA, maybe do a run there or whatever. But if it is in-ring competition, then it probably means in-ring competition. So I don't know. Obviously we get a chance to talk about it on the show, because when we tape, sometimes news breaks after the fact, and it is what it is. That's why it's important you subscribe to the show, subscribe here, because you get the show. Obviously it goes out every week, but when news breaks, and you know, there is a certain amount of time, I like to do these videos from time to time. But let me know, what do you guys think? Leave your comments below. Do you think AJ is actually going to retire? Do you think this is it, and this news is all just kind of debate and switch, where we'll get some kind of screwy finish and Gunther won't actually win? Or will WWE shock the world and AJ's finished? I don't know. I hope not. I would prefer him to actually have a bit of a run this year. But if this is it, you know, it's going to be the end of one of the greatest of all time. Like, legitimately. If you're unfamiliar with AJ and you've only seen him in WWE, you haven't seen his career. Go back and watch his TNA run, where he built his name. And my hope would be, if he was to lose, he would go to TNA and help those guys out for a bit and have a run and finish up there, get inducted into both Hall of Fames. That's the way I would do it. That would be the best outcome for me as a TNA fan. But look, it's really up to AJ. It's really up to WWE. So we'll wait and see. But let me know in your comments below. And if it's your first time checking us out, please do like, share, subscribe. And don't forget, we do a podcast every Friday. It usually drops on Friday, Saturday, and then it's broadcast on Phoenix FM every Tuesday. Talk to you in the next one, guys.
You're listening to the Nerd to Know Media Network. Join us at nerdtoknowmedia.com.
Thank you for listening to a Nerd to Know Media production.